Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be helping you guys master the very simple basics of Twinmotion in order to get you started and on your way to your very first architectural render. Also, before we get into it, really appreciate the positive feedback on my first video. That's a big confidence boost right there, so thanks everyone. And yeah, let's get back into the video. Okay, so first of all, go ahead and launch Twinmotion. Create a new scene and then head straight to preferences. Okay, now this is where you'll be tuning a few settings that will help you get the most out of Twinmotion. Okay, first of all, you've got the probe's resolution, which is basically the reflection quality on any reflective surface. And these are my recommended settings for the best quality rendering and a smooth running workspace. Then you have the sky dome resolution. This basically just adjusts how detailed the sky and clouds are. Again, for the same reasons, these are my recommended settings. Now, grass fading is simple. If you set it to near, the grass will only render up to a short distance, but when you set it to far, it shows up at further distances, and that's within renders and in the viewport as well. So definitely set this to high, or at least to medium if your PC slows down. You then have motion blur, and just like in games, I'd turn that off for a smoother and crispier experience. Turn on autosave since Twinmotion loves a sudden crash. Now for the export options, have a read if you want to know the specifics, but I usually just leave them all turned on. But if you'd like faster rendering times, I'd just untick those boxes. After that, press OK and let's move on to movement controls. So just use WASD for movement and QNE for hovering up and down. Now the mouse controls are simple too. So clicking the wheel allows you to pan across, right clicking just looks around, and left clicking orbits around the object that you're selecting. Now when zooming in and out, the numbers 1 through 6 on your keyboard speed up and slow down the camera speed. Okay, so select the starting base and delete that Click import, the plus sign, press open, select your file, and voila, the materials are fucking dreadful. So if your model spawns under the ground, just like mine did, just select your model like this and just drag it upwards. Now when you import your file, you'll always have to change the materials and landscaping, and I'll cover that in another video, don't you worry. For example, I downloaded this model from a website just for the tutorial, and the materials just don't seem great, so let me just give this a quick redo. Now let's get into the main part of the video. First of all, click on ambiance and go to render, and I just like to set it on lumen because as you can see, it instantly just looks a lot better. Now we'll turn the quality up later when we're taking the actual shots, but just turn accurate shadows on just so you can have more accurate shadows. Now head to the environment settings. Here you can play with the time of day and what direction the sun's coming in from. Now onto the newest feature of Twinmotion 2025. So they've just added volumetric clouds, and honestly it's my favorite feature right now. You can pick from a big variety of clouds and you can change a lot about them in the settings. Now this one's personally my favorite. I just added to all my projects, and I suggest you do too. So another cool thing you can do is change the season of the setting. So you can have it look like a big snowstorm, for example. You can make it rain and cry in the corner of your room like a little bitch. You can do whatever you want really, whatever makes the scene you're trying to set. You can add fog to the mix if you're trying to go for the whole mysterious type of vibe. Now I personally wouldn't do that because as an architect you're trying to show off every single detail of the model you created, so what's the point in covering it up with a bit of fog? But each to their own, I guess. Now swiftly move on to the camera settings. Here you can play around with the exposure, you can change the white balance, which is basically how warm or cool the setting is. You can change the tint if you're maybe designing a house for Shrek. And by far the most important part of this video, the lens settings. Here you can control the field of view, which isn't as important when you're in the viewport, but it's definitely one of the most important things when setting up your render angles. And now head to the effects settings. Here you can increase the contrast or the saturation if that's something you'd like to do. Now for some reason all of my shots look better with the blue tint, so if that's something you'd like to try out, go ahead. Now let's move on to setting up your camera angles. Okay, so go ahead and go to the media button down here, set up your angle and take a photo. Now you can adjust it however way you want and change it around a bit, and then you can just click this little refresh button and the new angle is then saved. Now this is where you get a bit creative with the angles and the focal length. Just pick whatever looks better for your shot, and then don't forget to refresh. Also, to give your shot a bit of a geometrically proportional 2-point perspective effect, there's this parallelism, there's this box over here. Click it and the shot will instantly look better. Now if you'd like to take a few extra pics, you can do that, and when you're done, make sure to go to the image settings and change every single picture's resolution. Now if your PC can't handle it, it's fine, just keep it as it is. Always save before rendering in case it crashes. However, if it can handle 4K rendering, then definitely go for that. Now all that's left is exporting. Go to image and select the angles you want to render. Now you can pick what format you'd like the images to be in, so they can be in PNG or JPG, whichever you prefer. And if you have a powerful PC, I'd definitely turn on high refinement, as it makes for a clearer and more realistic render. Now all you gotta do is just click export, select the file location you'd like the images to be saved in, and that's about it. Now here are my final renderings. I used multiple settings just so you can grasp how different you can have your scene look. I also purposely left this without any post-production so you can see Twinmotion's solo capabilities. You usually want to use Photoshop to enhance your images to make them even better looking, but again, I'll leave that for another video. And that's about it for the video. Again, this is my first tutorial, so if you're not liking it, do leave a comment on things I might have missed out on. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.